Good evening, Bhante and all Kalyana Mitas, Sukhi Hotu. I'm Aliana and welcome to the Sutta discussion day 6 by Bhante Dr. Gangodawila Chandima. Our speaker, Bhante Dr. Gangodawila Chandima, currently is a senior advisor at Ti-Ratana, Canada, a virtual Dharma organization that helps beginner as well as expert students in learning Dharma in variety ways. You can check on Ti-Ratana with the link www.ti-ratana.blogspot.com. Bhante Chandima earned a PhD in Buddhist Studies in 2015 from University of Sri Jayawardenepura in Sri Lanka. Bhante was a former visiting research fellow in University of Victoria, Canada. Bhante also served as Theravada Buddhist chaplain in the University of British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada. Welcome, Bhante, and thank you very much for the talk. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Aliana. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the sixth day of our Maṅgala Sutta discussion. And I hope that you've been reading through and then probably watching through and then I would say self-critiquing of things that we've been discussing so far, because this is always an open discussion. And then we try to look at this very popular sutta from different aspects as well, from the text, from our understanding, from the contemporary context as well. So let's get started by paying homage to Buddha. Let's put our palms together. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so anybody remember the place where we left out last time and the verse that we are supposed to do today? Oh, I have this cool thing. I mean, I'm asking somebody to recite if that is okay. So so far we had Doreen, Aliana. I guess that's all. So anybody else wants to try? I guess today's verse is going to be verse number 6. That's on page 12. Who wants to test his or her Pali pronunciation? You can raise your hand. I think Hema also recited last time, right? You also recited, right?
Yeah, should I do
Did
it
you
or
recite
not?
last time?
Yes, Bhante,
Okay.
should I do it or let others do it?
We'll see if somebody else wants to do it. If not, we have you. Don't worry.
Thank you, Bhante.
Who wants to read the verse number 6? This is a very famous sutta, so don't worry. You don't need to pronounce that you think as how it is supposed to be exactly in Pali, but don't need to try.
Okay.
Looks like there is nobody. Is it correct? If there is nobody, then are you going to recite, Te? I don't know how your name is pronounced. Okay. We'll leave up to Hema. Yeah, Hema, go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante. Danancha Dhammacariyacha Natakanancha Sangaho Anavajahni Kammani Edam Maṅgalam Uttamam.
Great.
Thank you. Sadhu.
Danancha Dhammacharya. Danancha Dhammacharya. Now D, it has an H, so we have to make it a little bit stressed. Dan, not Dan, Dan. Danancha Dhammacharya. DH. Dhammacharya. Here, this is a nasal. Nyatakanam cha sangaho. Nyatakanam cha sangaho. Anavajjani kammani etam mangala uttama. So that's what do you call constant line that we have in this sutta. Okay. So apparently there are couple Maṅgala factors over here. How many Maṅgala factors you can see in here in this verse? So Danan should be one. Dhammacharya should be another one. Nyatakanancha Sangaho should be another one. Anavajjani kammani should be another one. So there are altogether 4 Maṅgala factors. Okay. So this is going to be in that other PDF. You can see the numbers of the Maṅgala factors 38. Now you can see from number 15. The 15, 16, 17, 18 are the ones that are included in this verse number 6. That means we have discussed 14 Maṅgala factors up to last week. We are going a little bit faster. I don't think we are going a little bit fast. I mean, but because we are doing at least one stanza every day, it has at least 4. Okay, the first Maṅgala factor is pretty, normal to everyone. Everybody does that. Danancha. Okay. I heard somebody's asked. I heard somebody was talking about a dana over here just before I came. There's a dana. Dana. Okay, so dana. So dana means what is dana? It's a very good question that you all want to give dana to monks, right? Let's talk about today dana from its textual and then contemporary explanations. So giving dana is a Maṅgala factor, right? So may I ask you what you think about dana in your own way? What do you know? What have you perceived dana in your own way, right? So you have your own way. I mean, temple has its own, explanation, but you have your own way how you perceive this word and then the particular activity regarding this dana. So may I ask you what you have perceived by dana?
Giving.
Letting go
What
some
physical giving or mental giving? That's a good question. People like giving is a problem. Giving is a challenging thing to everyone. Okay? But if someone can overcome that thing, then the next thing is the physical giving. But in Buddhism, now I will tell you the most important part. In Buddhism, the most important thing is giving by mind. Giving, physical giving, and then giving, I would say mental giving. Because some people hold it, right? Yeah, so you said giving. You want to add anything else?
Giving charity.
letting go some attachment, Bhante.
Yeah.
Charity and food.
Okay, so now you're talking about items
Mm.
in that giving, right? Let's leave that part. We just only talk about giving in general, but we will have to talk about that. Anybody else? I think there was a chat here.
Letting go some attachment, Bhante.
Yeah. Give me a second. Sharing to the poor, helping orphanage, nursing home, helping people in need. Okay, that's what Siddha said. Yeah, that is how you have to see. Who else raised a hand? Yeah, Aliana.
Letting go some attachment.
Okay, letting go of some attachment. Emma, you want to say anything? Yeah.
Yeah, giving without expectation, and also practicing on generosity.
Oh, giving without
Without
expectation. That's a very, yeah.
with no expectation and attachment.
Yeah, that's a very good part, right? Yeah, very important. Doreen?
Bhante, reducing greed.
Oh, okay. Reducing greed. Sita, welcome. Welcome. I think we can see your mom too.
Maybe
Anybody else wants to? Yeah, we need.
maybe I would say that not only physically giving their meals, but probably sharing our knowledge in the
Oh,
Dhamma.
that's another way of giving. Done. Others?
Irene, come here.
Now we have to talk about a couple things over here. Now the first thing is what is dana. And the second thing is what are the items we can give with dana, right? Some people they can wrongly interpret dana in different ways, right? And then the third thing is how does dana lead to nibbana? Right? So these are the three important things. But before that, let me explain to you the commentarial interpretation of this, the Maṅgala Sutta. Dānaṁ nāma paraṁ uddissa subuddhi pubbika annādi sadānavattu pariccāgattu sattaṁ samprittenava alobena hitam vattum parasa padipādi. Now it means that with wisdom, you are trying to give 10 things. There can be 10 things. What are they? For that, we have to find out another sutta. We can take Chulakamma Vibhanga Sutta, the Majjhima Nikaya. I guess this sutta is going to be, what's the number? Chulakamma Vibhanga Sutta. Yeah, it's going to be Majjhima Nikaya 135. That's the number of the sutta. You can see this thing in that. In the sutta, it says exactly what those 10 items are. Annam, Panam, Vattham, Yanam, Mala, Gandha Vilepanam, Seyya Vasata, Padipiya. Anna means food. Of course, you are offering food to different people, including monks, monastics, right? Panam means drink, including starting from water. Vattam, clothing. Yana, vehicles. Interesting. At that time, people offered vehicles. I mean, you may have some questions about it, but that is one of the things. It doesn't mean that you have to offer to a monastic. These are the things people can offer by dana to somebody. Vehicle. Mala means garlands. Okay, at that time, it was a practice that people offered garlands. Even in today's world, it happens. Right? In India, in Sri Lanka, we see when someone welcome, they put it around, right? Right? The garlands. And then Gandha means perfumes. Do people give perfumes to others? What are the occasions where you normally think to give a perfume? Sometimes travelers are expected to bring. Huh?
Yes, Bhante, yes, during birthday, they give birthday present perfume.
Okay.
Do you
During
count?
the day,
Do you count
sometimes
it?
the,
Yeah.
sometimes the travelers are
The incense state we give sandalwood.
okay.
Is
So,
it under perfume?
Yeah, it can be because I mean, Gandha Puja, that when you offer joss sticks and there is the smell, right? So I mean, it shouldn't necessarily be a liquid. So and in today's world, there are some liquid. What do you call them? There are some infusers.
Uh,
You can buy
yeah.
infusers where you
Aroma.
can put a little bit of liquid aromatic
Essential.
in.
Yeah, essential oil. Yeah.
That's one of the ways of looking at it. You know, it doesn't necessarily always mean that you buy a unisex or men, women, what do you call liquid type perfume, but it's and then Mala Gandha Vilepana. What is Vilepana? Cosmetic stuff.
Wow.
That means makeup stuff. I mean, who is going to give the makeup stuff to somebody? Probably a husband, probably a boyfriend, probably a man. It could the other way around as well, right? Makeup stuff, cosmetics. Seyya means bed. That means giving a bed, somebody to sleep. Of course, that you're offering bedding beds to monastics in a monastery, right? You offer so they can sleep comfortably. And Vasata means shelter. I would say house. Could be a house. It could be a place. I would say a house, monastic place, right? And Padipa means lighting. Now, Padipa exactly means lamps, but we don't have lamps that much other than we offer. So here you could say lighting. Probably you bear the cost of the temple's electricity bill. It can happen, right? Because we have to adjust these things to the modern world. So the temple is running under the donation. So okay, now we can keep the lamps always like having this way. So we have to use the electricity power and pay for the cost. Somebody may pay for the cost via donation. Because when there is a light, that helps the Buddha statue and the temple to be a very, I would say, visible place. That visible thing is helpful for other people to feel happy by looking at the Buddha statue and the other events, right? But at that time, it was lamps. So there are 10 things that way: food, drink, clothing, vehicles, garlands, perfumes, makeup, bed, house, and lighting. So this is normally the stuff that somebody can give, right? Are there any other things that are not part of this 10?
Bhante,
There are a lot of things.
Bhante, you mean this 10 thing can be given to members of the Sangha?
No, it doesn't say that
Doesn't
you
say
should
that.
give to monks and nuns. It says a normal layperson can give to individuals. But when it comes to monastics, you have to choose what is appropriate and what is not appropriate.
Oh.
It is under your discretion. And probably, let's say, makeup. I don't think anybody wants to buy some cosmetics and offer, hey, you know what? These are some good stuff. You can have it. You understand the common sense, right? But for a husband, for a boyfriend, this is one way of giving. Other way around as well. Probably to a poor person. Let's say you are seeing a family who is having a lot of hardships. They are not able to afford to buy something, right? So you think about it. Okay, I want to give it to them. So they are happy. So we have to take that way. Not that these 10 must be given to monastics. You have to choose what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And then, quite interestingly, there's something else. Dana nama tuvidam, amisa dana, dhamma dana. Now all these 10 are amisa dana. What is amisa dana? That means you are offering in the way of material stuff. All these are material, right? Food, drink, clothing, vehicles, garlands, perfumes, makeup, pen, house, and life. You have to afford. You should be able to afford, right? Otherwise, you can't give it to somebody. But there is another dana in Buddhism, as Vinita said. Vinita, are you there? You said there is something very interesting.
Dhammadana.
Dhammadana.
Mm.
The Buddha said in one of the stanzas of the Dhammapada stanza number 354. Okay, check it later. Sabba danam dhammadanam jināt. Out of all the danas, material danas, or all this sort of danas, giving Dhamma, sharing Dhamma is the highest. Why is it? Because when you share the Dhamma, somebody's ignorance will be going away, at least to some extent. Now, when you share Dhamma with somebody who can understand, and then if that person stops doing wrong things, bad things, you are doing a very big change in that person's life. That person is not able to get it from outside that easy. So you are transforming someone's karmic life, sansaric life. Now, don't take it wrong. Why I say that don't take it wrong? Some people think, okay, I don't want to give any of the 10 material stuff. I only want to do Dhammadana. It's not how it works. Okay. You have to continue with your material donations, but you have to keep in mind, Dhammadana is what you should engage more and more. Now, what is Dhammadana? What is Dhammadana? Anybody wants to say anything about it? What is Dhammadana?
Just
Gift
like
of
what you're
Dhamma.
doing, Venerable.
Now,
This-
what I'm doing is Dhammadana, right?
Spreading Dhamma.
Huh?
Spreading the Dhamma. Oh, talking about Dhamma.
Yeah, talking about Dhamma to the right people. Now, even me, if I'm going to talk Dhamma to the wrong people, they will not understand. And plus, it will be a waste of the time as well. Also, I should be able to give the Dhamma. Just because I read a couple books, I can't talk Dhamma, right? And particularly, experience is very important. Dhamma is not something in the books. You have to have some experience about Dhamma. How does it apply into the real life? You should have an experience. Now, this is what many people are facing in today's world. There are a lot of things happening because of the books, but when it comes to real life, there's nothing progressing because the practical part, application part is missing here. Nobody talked that much about it. Not only talking about the Dhamma, sharing the Dhamma. Right? It might be sharing the Dhamma too. When you share even a Dhamma post, when you share a Dhamma story, right? When you publish Dhamma books, a lot of people get to read them. All these are part of the Dhamma. So now Dhanancha means generosity, but the generosity can come from material ways and in the Dhamma ways. Keep in mind, you need to practice the both, but keep in mind, Dhamma is the highest. And also, there are other words for Dana. What are they? Chaga. Have you ever come across this word? Chaga? What is chaga? Okay, let me type it here in the chat so you will see. Always typing is helpful. Chaga. Now, Dana is another word. So, Dana simply means here giving. But Chaga means giving up.
All of you. It's like giving up. Does that? Okay, thank you. Seems that Bhante is disconnected, brother and sister. We wait for a while for Bhante to join back again.
Sorry about my connection. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so Chaga means giving up. Okay, so that's a very philosophical word for dana. So I mean, in the Sutta Pitaka, there are a lot of places where we find Chaga. Can you remember any place where we find Chaga for the dana? Now it is said that there are 4 qualities that we all have to cultivate: Saddha, Sila, Chaga, Panya. Chaga means giving up. That means now there are people, they offer a lot of things, but then they attach to the strings of the fruit. They have a lot of attachments to the stuff that they are giving. So that is not a good thing. That's why the Buddha said, Chaga, if you take it as Chaga, that might be more appropriate. Am I breaking up?
No, Bhante is clear.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so now we know what is dana, and we also talk about another word called chaga. And what else? There are 3 people when it comes to dana. That is also very important to learn. They are called as 3 types of givers: dana dasa, dana sahaya, dana pati. Let me type it here. So the first one is dana dasa. Second one is dana sahayaka. Third one is dana pati. Okay. Can all read?
Bhante, ni situ ni. Is it got
Can
another-
everybody read this one? Dana Dasa, Dana Sahayaka, Dana Pati.
Yeah, 3 is coming.
Sorry?
Okay.
Yeah. So Dana Dasa means somebody who is offering dana, in a way that Lynn, can you hear me?
And
Yes, I can hear. Just
Yeah,
now.
what-
Yeah,
Yeah, let me know what's going on. It's like, am I breaking up? Okay.
now okay. Just now I think breaking up. Now okay.
Give me a second. I want to switch to another network here.
Okay, Bhante.
Okay, should work now. Okay, so Dana Dasa. Dana Dasa is someone who is giving things to other people, but she doesn't like to give the exact stuff that she enjoys. She always wants to give little lower than how he or she consumes.
oh, slave of
Okay.
Dana.
Huh?
Slave of Dana.
Yeah, Dana slave. Dasa is a slave, right? Let's say that person consumes a good meal. She always thinks when it comes to giving, she only wants to offer something lower than the
Right.
plate or the consumption that he or she has. That is Dana Das. Dana Sahayaka means somebody, so giver, who is giving dana exactly with the same things that she consumes. Say he or she is having this kind of a meal, and she only gives only to that extent. That is Dana Sahaya. Sahaya means companion. And Dana Pati means somebody who is offering.
Called friend of Dana.
Sorry?
This means friend of Dana.
Yeah, friend of
This
Dana.
means friend of Dana.
Yeah, friend of Dana or Dana companion. And then Dana Pati means somebody who is offering some food or whatever the things to a level that she might not be able to enjoy in the fullest, in the best way that person can offer. Let's say that person does not eat meals in a way every day, but when it comes to dana, that person wants to do it to the best of what he can do or how he can do. So that is the person the Buddha always appreciates, but we understand that everybody can't do that all the time because of the financial reasons, but at least try to be a dana sahayaka, or dana pati will be the highest. So these are the 3 types of people. And dana leads to nibbana. How does dana lead to nibbana? Only when you offer dana without attaching to its results. Now, when you go to a temple and offer dana to the monks, and then think about, may I be reborn in a heaven? That means you are already attached to that results, right? Then what will happen is that you are limiting you will get something out of it, definitely, but you will limit yourself to a certain result. Don't limit your results. Let it be happen in the way how it wants to be. I will tell you an example. Now there is an exam. A student is going to sit for the exam. If the student thinks, I am only aiming for a letter grade, let's say B minus. This is my plan. This is my target in the exam. But when you have a plan only to end up with a letter grade like B plus, let's say B plus, in the exam you only work for that B plus, right? So you might most probably end up way before that because your plan was only to end up with a B plus. But there is somebody who does not expect any letter grade but prepares well for the exam, writes the exam very well, and he or she will end up somewhere the highest. That's the same thing when it comes to doing a good karma, like a dana. Don't expect anything. Do your activity well without expectation. This is very important. But there are people who can't take it as what we just discussed. Whenever they go to a temple, you know what? I am the one who donated that thing. This is mine, this happens like people, like when they sold their cars and they get to see the car in a traffic light. Oh yeah, that's my car. You know what? I used it a couple years back. And you sold it to somebody. That's not yours anymore, right? Still owning that thinking can say, oh, that's the one I use it. That's it anymore. But you still having the loba to the thing that you offered, donated. If you donated, that's it. But before you donating, you need to understand how it is going to be beneficial. Sometimes you donate to the wrong person, then you are very stressed out. Oh, it's not being used by these people. They are not using it. So you are so upset about it. That's why before you offer, think about who I'm going to offer. Then you have no problem after that. So when you offer to the wrong person, you always stressed out. See why? The mattress, I know in some temples in Canada, like the monk asked, you know what, we need a rug for the shrine hole. And then what happens after some time, now they need a different rug. The devotee always checks, where is my rug? And then after some time, what happens is that the monk wants a new rug, like a bigger one. Okay. And then there are a lot of problems happen. So when you offer, that is offered. There's nothing. I have no authority. I have no belonging to that. That's a very good way of thinking. And then you are practicing dana outright on the spot. Some people, they don't want to practice dana on the spot. They want to plan it later. They want to think about dana very late. That's why these issues can come. So if you are somebody who gives up any attachment to result of dana, you are the best. And you are going on your dana path very well. Because we meet sometimes people who are not Buddhist, who have no attachment to what they give. What a cool idea is that? I mean, people who go to a temple but still attaching to what they give. People who don't go to a temple, some people, they have no attachment at all. So that means the idea has not given to people. Probably sometimes this is kind of a later kind of a teaching. There are some books in the canon which have been added sometimes late, wherein which they say that if you offer a small thing, you are going to be reborn in a heaven. Now, these were, we can't say they are not Buddhist, but if you compare with philosophical teachings in the early books of the Buddha, and those books, there is a kind of a philosophical gap. I think these books were written people to donate more, but not to give the idea from. If you offer a small roti, that's it, you're going to be reborn in a heaven. Right? It's not the roti. It's not the size of what you give. It is your mind. Let's say you offer a small thing to somebody, even to a monk, but your mind is so pure. You have no attachment to that result. That's what we want, right? So there are a lot of things to talk about with dana. So dana leads to nibbana because that's the entry point of somebody into the Buddhist path. Now, the first day when you go to a temple, do you think that the monastics ask you to practice meditation? No, they ask you to practice dana, offer dana, but don't end up in dana because there are other things: dana, sila, bhavana, patti, patta, modana, viya, vaccha, pachayancha. But a lot of people, they end up with dana. That's it. The first day they did something. Even today they do the same thing. There's no transformation. That's not good. I mean, you have to keep dana going on, but open up for the other good things too. Otherwise, you will ever be a Buddhist with the dana only. That's not good. Okay, dana, that's the first, what do you call the Maṅgala factor in this stanza. And that's going to be number 15. Maṅgala factor number 15. What's the 16th one? Dhammacharya. Danancha, Dhammacharya. What is Dhammacharya? What is Dhamma? What is Dhamma?
The teaching of the Buddha.
That is one interpretation.
And
There is a PhD thesis written by a scholar to a university in the United States, Colgate University. The meaning, the multiplicity of the Dhamma, the meaning of the Dhamma. Dhamma has a lot of meanings. So that's the PhD. Just imagine this bulky book, this big bulky book about the meaning of the Dhamma. Just the definitions of what is Dhamma. So one meaning is the teachings of the Buddha, not even the teachings of the Buddha, teachings of any teacher.
phenomena.
You can say teachings of the Jesus Christ, Christian Dharma, called Christo Dharma, the teachings of the Hindu Dharma, teachings of the Jains, Jaina Dharma. That means teachings of anybody is Dharma. Now, in this case, teachings of the Buddha. What are the other meanings of this word called Dhamma?
The phenomena of the truth.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. So, phenomena of the truth. So, there are a lot of phenomena happening, like a lot of things happening. We call them Dhamma as well. Another meanings of the Dhamma?
The truth.
The truth. How do we call it? What's the Dhamma of our life? What's the reality of our life? So we call Dhamma to be reality. What's the Dhamma of a relationship? What's the Dhamma of the world? What's the Dhamma of the sansara? That means reality. Are there other meanings too? Are there other meanings too?
Dharma means to support.
Dhamma, actually, we talk about. Another meaning of Dhamma is, Dhamma, Chakku Sota Gana Jiva Kaya Mana. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. What are they? Six sense faculties. And let's take a look at the objects that these sense faculties are taking. What are they? Sights, sounds, then smell, taste, touch,
yeah.
and then thoughts.
The mind.
Thoughts.
Takku sota gana jivha kaya mana, and then rupa sabda gandha rasa pottabba dhamma. Get the point. Dhamma. So dhamma means thoughts, mind. These are the thoughts of the mind. So another mean that is not dhamma but dhamma. So dhamma means thoughts or objects, like exactly what you said, Hema, phenomena. Say phenomena, different phenomena, as well as some of the thoughts. Now, what is Dhammacharya? Let's take a look at the commentary. Dhammacharya nama dasa kusala kamma patacharya. That means practicing the 10 kusala is the Dhammacharya. That is Dhammacharya. That I think we already talked about these 10, right? Aliana also shared that in the group. So, Dhammacharya means engaging in the 10 kusala activities. That is Dhammacharya. Is it a Mangala thing, Dhamma folks? Is it a Mangala thing? What happens when you don't practice Dasa Kusala? That means you are practicing Dasa Kusala. That is not a Mangala. Now, interesting thing here is that in this world, universe, everybody practices something. Right? Now, when you say these people don't practice Dhamma, that means they practice Dasa Akusala. Right? Willingly or unwillingly. So, the practice of the 10 Kusala is the Dhammacharya. That is Mangala. That's a Mangala factor. That's going to be number, I would say, 16. That's the Mangala factor, number 16. Let's go to number 17. Any questions about it before we jump into the third one? Any questions about Dhammacharya?
My question is about Dhamma, Bhante.
Yeah.
How come in the text sometimes we can see the Dhamma with big D and there's with the small d?
You mean the capital?
Yeah, there's the one sometimes in capital D and sometimes
Yeah,
in
that's a good question. Now, when you see Dhamma with capital D, that means mostly the teaching of the Buddha. But when you see D simple, that is mostly meant to be the phenomena, as Hema said, the phenomena. Then we know this is not the teaching; these are the phenomena. Maybe these are the objects of the mind. Probably this is when you say Dhamma, then that means with a simple lowercase letter, that means the reality of something. That's how we're gonna distinguish capital D Dhamma and the simple D Dhamma. Any more question? Okay, if not, let's jump into the third one. Dhanancha, that's not one Mangala factor. Dhammacharyacha, then Jnatakanancha Sangaho. Okay, who are the Jnatas? Jnatas, known people. Jnatakanancha. Now in one stanza, now here it says, taking care of your relatives. Now who are these relatives actually? Pretty much the blood relatives actually, right? But when you see relatives, it looks like the whole world is a small place that we all have connections to everyone, right? So it's kind of difficult to exactly map out the exact limits of the relatives. But pretty much the people we have from our mother, father side, right? Now in one stanza, if you can remember in Dhammapada, we find this stanza. Arogya parama labha santutti paramandana vissasa paramanyati nibbana paramasukham. Arogya paramalabha. In this world, the best gain someone can get is health, physical health and mental health. Now, you may have a lot of money, you may have a lot of things, you may have people around you, but the best gain is health. Although you have all these people, but you are suffering every day, you have pain here, you have pain there, you are complaining a lot, you don't feel happy. That means the best gain is health, physical health, and most importantly, mental health. Then, Santutti Paramandana, the best wealth or the highest wealth in this world is, what is it? joy, or I would say santutti, joy. But this joy has to come from a very wholesome way, right? Unwholesome joys can finish and then you are not happy in the long run. Then we come to our point, our word. Vissasa paramanyati. Some people wrongly mistranslate this one to be blood relatives are the people that we can trust in the most. That's not how it is given. The people whom you can be trusted in are the relatives to you. How is that? Sometimes you have blood relatives, but you can't trust them. It can happen. We are not belittling the relatives. But here, the stanza says in that Dhammapada, Vissasa Paramanyati means you can only trust in the, you can call the real relatives to be the people who you can really wholeheartedly trust. Sometimes you trust in your friend zone, not the relatives. Relatives are really troublemakers sometimes. They are making gossip here and there, make big problem. But sometimes blood relatives are also good. They are good people too. It can happen. But it is different from one person to other person. So that means the real relative in Buddhism means somebody who you can keep trust. But here, taking care of your relatives is a Maṅgala fact. That's what it is said by Ñātakāraṇaṁ Saṅgaho. Now that means there are many people in this society who ignore their or his or her relatives, being very greedy, saying that I don't want to take care of my relatives. I don't want to give some food to them. I don't want to enjoy time with them. So that is not a Maṅgala factor. But there may be some issues. Sometimes you don't want to mingle with them. You don't want to be with them. But there are some certain, I would say, responsibilities for you to, for them. That means you are happy that you treat your relatives too. Any question about it? Is that the Maṅgala factor? Ñātakāraṇaṁ Saṅgaha means, I would say, you can say taking care. At the same time, cherishing, or this translation says supporting. Supporting also a good way of looking at it. Sometimes there are people who have a lot of comforts, a lot of, I would say, but they don't help their relatives for whatever the reason. They are very greedy. They don't like to support, right? That's why supporting, taking care of your relatives is also a Maṅgala fact. And that's going to be number, I would say, 17. So now we are coming to the last Maṅgala factor for today. That's going to be very interesting. Anavajjani kammani. Kammani means actions. Anavajjani means blameless. Now what is vajjani? What is vajjani? Vajjani means blameworthy. And anavajjani means blameless. Now, in many places, the Buddha told there is the highest blameworthy action in Buddhism. What is it? Miccha dittim bhikkave paramang vajjani dissanti. I call wrong view is the worst, the most blameworthy action. Why is it? Now there are people who don't practice 5 precepts. They don't simply practice. But there is someone who don't want to understand why it is harmful. Then that person does not care about anything. That means that person has miccha, the wrong view. So when somebody has wrong view, he or she does or executes all the bad things. So here, blameless actions. So always try to do actions that are blameless. So how do you figure out this is blameworthy and this is blameless? How do you find out that thing? what is the compass, moral compass? What is the criteria?
Kusala and akusala, Bhante?
Kusala and akusala. So you always have this dasa kusala thing and dasa akusala. So when you have to always
Since the Bhante is off again, we wait a while, sister and brothers.
Okay, so sorry about that again. Blameless action and then the blame worthy action. So anavajjani means blameless action. So what are the blameless actions here? They are the actions that are not a part of 10 akusala. And we have a commentarial way of looking at it that has other things too, like uposata. Uposatanga samadhana, that means sila. Vayyavaccha means volunteering stuff in a place, let's say cleaning and all that kind of stuff. And then arama vanarupa setukar, those are kind of things that somebody can do, creating, constructing a temple or gardens and planting trees, making a bridge. So all these are part of blameless actions, but pretty much they are the 10 kusalas. So if your actions are 10 kusalas, then that means you are practicing anavajjani kamma. So anavajjani means blameless, kamma means actions. Okay, so here what we learned today has 4 Maṅgala factors. So dana means giving. Then dhammacharya means practicing the 10 kusala. And then Jnatakananta Sanghaho means supporting your relatives. And then Anavajjani Kammani means doing actions that are blameless. Now, who is going to blame you? The bad people or good people? How do you figure out that thing? How do you figure out the blame? Where is this? A lot of people anybody can blame, right? In this society. When you drive on the road, somebody can say a bad word to you. That's a blame also. But which blame is more powerful for our spiritual practice?
From oneself, Bhante.
Yeah, blame from the wise people. Can you remember one stanza in the Maṅgala Sutta? Nacha kuddam samachari kinchiyena vinyu pare pavade. Nacha kuddam samachari. Even a slight bad thing. Don't do even a slight bad thing. What kind of a bad thing? Kinchiyena vinyu pare upavadeyum. Vinyu pare. The blameworthy action that is made by vinyu, wise people, those who always talk good words, those who always do good actions, those who always think good thought. They are the wise people. If that kind of person, those people never blame you with swear words. They will never do that. But they will say, they will see, they will perceive that. So don't be, don't be somebody who is creating a blame within the mind of a wise person. So that's one. Now, as Liana said, at the end, it will be a self-critical thing that you are the one who is thinking, okay, if I do this thing, he or she might not be happy, because it's not that you are satisfying other people. It's because that you know that this is not a good action that I should do, because you know those people will not be happy for that. That's how you're going to figure out blameless and then the blameworthy actions. Okay, any questions for today's 4 Maṅgala factors? So we discuss today from the Maṅgala factors number 15 to number 18. 15, 16, 17, 18. Any question about it? Oh, there's something in the chat. Bhante, my family usually do charity by cooking food and making drinks, then sharing it to the poor and sometimes orphanage. But we rarely do dana in temple. Do you have any suggestions for us to better doing that? Or the way we do is already right and just continue this way? Thank you, Bhante. I mean, we cannot say the way you do is right or wrong, but I appreciate your dana that you've been doing so far. But what you are saying is that you are doing a lot of charity stuff. I mean, cooking food, making drinks. I mean, this is more likely for the people that are not monastic. I mean, we all have to do that too. And if possible, if you can also give it to monastics. Zita, you have a temple nearby in your area?
Yes,
Ah,
Bhante,
yeah.
but very hard to give like food dana to the Bhante because the first reason is the temple is a bit far, and now in Indonesia we have restriction. We have many restriction, and if we want to sell food to the temple or meet the Bhante, we should make an appointment first. And I think it's very hard to fulfill the dana to the temple. So that's why we already doing this charity for 1 year. So that's why I asked on how to do it better by the setting of the dana. Should we continue to set this way, or we should try to engage more to the temple?
Yeah, my suggestion to you is that you're already doing a very good thing. What you can do is you can balance out these two things. Continue the offering to the poor people, as well as giving dana whenever you can, right? Some people take it wrong. They take it, okay, only we need to offer dana to the monks, right? But as people, we have to always look at the people who need food, shelter also, right? Otherwise, why people only go to a temple? Because they want to create their future life. Making more good karma and then to be born in a better heaven. That's so selfish, right? I mean, while you are going to the temple and giving food to the monks and nuns, we also need to practice charity. I mean, the way not even the poor people, probably some animals too, right? Some animals, poor people, whom you think you can be a support in whatever you way. Now, let's say if the temple dana thing is kind of a complicated stuff, you can offer something online into this, right? Kind of a thing to the what do you call dana fund. I mean, this happens in some other temples. There are always ways to offer, but my thought to you, suggestion to you is that you're already continuing something very well. So please continue the both at the same time. Whenever you can. Don't take one over the other one. That is not a good thing. And I think you are a good example to all of us here, because not only you think about the monastic, you also think about these helpless people. I mean, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I mean, but some people don't understand. They always say, what kind of a good karma we get by giving food to these poor people? They are doing bad things. They are not practicing kusala. Only monks are practicing kusala. So we only get good karma by offering. That's being very selfish. You are misusing your future life, and then you are not altruistic in this life. So we need to practice the both. We should be able to, and then the most important thing is balancing out. How to balance out? Some people do more to one side. We need to balance out. When it comes to giving, give as much as you can. Don't try to limit yourself. And as somebody said in here, who said that? Giving what are other aspects? Volunteering, sharing your knowledge. It is also a giving. There are people who don't want to share their knowledge, thinking that other people will catch their knowledge and then use it. And then spending time for somebody. In today's world, everyone is busy, right? They don't want to spend time for other people. You are giving your time. Spending your time, giving your time is a dan. We call it kala dan. Spending your time for somebody. So we had to always look at dana from very different angle so that we can make our practice a very beautiful, very good one. Sita, you try to say something too, right?
Oh yeah, Bante.
Are you gonna say
I want to-
something too?
Yes, Bante, I want to ask. Some people told me that after doing the charity, we have to do the sharing merit, like pati dana. Is that true, Bante? Oh, or
Well, that's true because let's say you do a good thing and you forget about other people. It's like this. I would say you are making are you a good baker, Sita? You bake a good cake. You want to eat alone. Where is the happiness? Or you want to invite somebody to share the cake or just eat alone? The simple idea is you share with other people, then you are more happy with the cake I made and somebody is eating. I'm happy about it. In the same way, you are doing a good karma. Then if you don't invite, they can't get it. So when you invite means, hey, Anne, hey, this one, Mark, enjoy, come here, not like that. You think about, may anybody who needs good karma at this point be able to come here and then take all this good karma. So you have to mentally share it with somebody or the people who passed away. So that's a need, that's a must. It's a need. So patidana means that you are creating good karma and then you need to give it to other people. So you need to share it mentally. Otherwise, they can't take it because it's your good karma. They cannot steal your good karma. That's the problem. You have to give it to other people, that way, especially your departed people and the devas. Do you think can someone steal other people's good karma? Huh?
Cannot, Bante.
There was one story in the Buddha's life. One devotee invited the monks to, even including the Buddha, for Pindapata or for a food offering. And Mahapantaka was the monk who was in charge of the dana. He's an arahant also, very famous monk. His brother was Chulapantaka. And he had to change dana, probably from that devotee to another devotee. Then what happened? That devotee came and then he said, it's okay, but on one condition. The Arhan Mahapantaka asked, what is that condition? You know what? This particular day is the day that I was planning. I've been doing a lot of things to offer dana. So I have saddha, right? I have faith about monks, Buddha. And do you think when you give me a different day that I will have the same saddha for the dana? Can you make sure that I will have the same saddha, faith for the same day, another day? And Arhan Mahapantaka said, I can't guarantee that. And then he said, I'm not happy about this change. You know what? Because this saddha is always changing all the time. Not the saddha of the monk, okay? Saddha means the faith, trust about the activities. Our saddha can change, right? So we have to keep the saddha same, constantly same. So the thing is that the moment we are offering something, we have to share it mentally. So that's a must. Otherwise, nobody can come and take your good karma away from you.
Bante. How about doing fasting? Is that one way to practice dana, or is the different way to practice? Yeah,
Fasting.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you give me a second? Okay. Fasting is a very good practice to keep a body very healthy in today's world. Now, what we are doing on a daily basis is that we are simply trying to eat. The Buddha said in many places, when you eat, you need to be more concerned about the portion of the food plate. He said that to the king Kosala. He said, leave 4-5 morsels of your stomach, and for the rest, drink water. And then the Buddha always encouraged us to, now you of course know that monks don't eat after 12, right? This is what. It is not a big sealer. The Buddha said, when you eat after the midday, you are eating too much, plus you are having a big tummy in today's world. At the same time, it is difficult. It is giving a difficult time, challenging time for the meditation. Now, fasting, I see, in today's world, is a very healthy practice. If you could do, if you skip one meal, it's a very good practice. That's why the Buddha said, Pikala Bhojana. But before he laid down that rule, the monks were already going to different houses for Pindapat. And then what happened? Because there was no power, people misunderstood, thinking that they are ghosts. Looking at them, they are coming from the back door and the front door, right? And there were some practical issues too. So, answer to your question is, fasting is not a dana, but fasting helps you to practice Dhamma very well, as well as it's a good way of practicing health, physical health, and the mental health. Yeah. Any questions?
Bhante, is
Yeah,
it the Kamanta and the Kamani is the same thing? Kamanta in the blessing 14 and the Kamani in blessing 18?
I think I didn't hear that part very well, Aliana. What was it?
Is it the Kamanta and Kamani the same thing? Kamanta from the blessing 14 and the Kamani and the blessing 18.
Okay, let me see. Kamanta, what's that blessing? Do you refer to a certain stanza over here?
Blessing number 14, Bhante. Kamanta in blessing number 14.
I didn't hear the number. Kamanta in blessing what?
14, 14, 1, 4.
14, okay. Yeah, so that one in Pali, see. Okay, so today we talked about Anavajja and Kammani, and then Anakula to Kammanta. Now, Kammanta, we talk about occupations. At the same time, blameless actions and then not complicated actions are two things, right? Now, there are some actions that are complicated. So, Anakula means complicated ones. But Anavachani means blameless ones. So, there are two, some actions could be 10 kusala or 10 akusala, but when you practice, when you do it, it could be either complicated or blameful or blameless. So the same actions, but taken in different two ways. Yeah. Any more questions? It will take another 1 minute. And then we can transfer good karmas, and then and I was informed that you wanted to talk to me after the session, so we have that time.
Bhante, I got one question. Is it the organ donation considered dana pati?
Voice is breaking up. Can you repeat again, please?
Is the organ donation, our like donate the organ or donate some of the body part or consider dana pati?
Yeah, it is. When it comes to paramita, perfections, dana has been interpreted as 3 ways of dana. Dana parami, dana upaparami, dana paramatta parami. So dana parami means that you are offering these physical things, food, drinks, and all that. Dana upaparami, the second one, means organ donation. Organ donation, blood donation, and all that. Dana paramatta parami means you're sacrificing your whole body. That's up to a bodhisattva actually. Now, organ donation, it's a very challenging thing to many, but nowadays people, give their consent to take things out, their body parts out once they die. Eyes have to be taken out before 24 hours. And then tissues and other stuff, I think, have to be taken out before 48 hours of the death. Because although you die, the biological death has not yet happened. The clinical death has happened to you. But the biological death is still going to happen within 48 hours. So it is, this organ donation is a dana. Even the blood donation is also a dana. We call it dana paramatta parami. So it's a very, higher level of dana, going beyond these physical things. It doesn't mean that we have to stop giving the physical things. And then if you could, it doesn't mean that you all have to do it. Okay? It doesn't mean you all have to do it. Because in the text it says, if you want to be an arahant, you only practice the physical offerings. But if you want to be a Pacceka Buddha, you want to practice physical things and the organ donation. And if you want to be a Samma Sambuddha, you have to practice physical things, organ donation, and sacrificing the whole body. So now the minimum thing is to be an arahant. You don't want to think about mess up, thinking about how I'm going to give my body. Some people might write down, may my body be taken by the medical school, by the medical students for the experiments. But I ask you to practice physical things first. Bring more focus to that. Otherwise, some people might, they might take it wrongly. Why we want to dedicate our body in the first place? But if you want to be a Pacceka Buddha, there's a way. Samma Sambuddha, there's a way. Thank you for bringing up that. I almost going to forget that thing to bring up today. I didn't want to go up to that level, but I was simply talking about the physical aspects of the material offerings.
Thank you, Bhante.
Well, one simple question: why do we get food? Why some others don't get food as we have? Many people are dying without food, right? Because of good karma. We have done a lot of dana in our previous lives. So don't think that we will get food in our next life too. If we don't practice dana, we have to give things. That's a must. Okay, any more questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, let's wrap this up by transferring good karmas. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating in today's discussion be transferred to all the departed people who passed away in the name of all of us. If the departed people were reborn in a bad state of life, a pious, may they be able to receive all these good karmas and then to be reborn in a better place where they can practice Dhamma. If they are already in a better place, may they be able to utilize all these good karmas to improve their life to an extent where they can attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may all the departed people who passed away in the name of all of you who are participating here be able to gain all these good karmas. May they be able to well and happy, and then attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's recite the stanzas. Idam me nyati nam hotu sukhita hantu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nam
Natinam
hotu
hodu
sukhita.
sukita hodu nyatayo. Vidami natinam hodu nyatayo. Makasata chavumata devanaga mahidika punyantam anumoditvam chiramakanduka sasana. Makasata chavumata devanaga mahidika punyantam anumoditvam chiramakandu desanam. Makasata chavumata devanaga mahidika Nyandam anumuditva shiram dam sadhu.